Okay, now going towards lab, we need a router and we need a manager. Simple. That there's no much things here. We need a manager and we need a router to get the SNMP going. Now, there are two ways of testing whether a router has a SNMP configured or not, right? So let's assume in this way, I'm a network engineer and I have multiple devices, multiple routers and switches or firewalls or anything. And we have newly introducing some SNMP tool, and our task is to start discovering them. We call it as discovery process. So we will try to discover each one of them. Okay, now that's discovery is done over on SNMP protocol and depends on which version you are using. If you are using V2C, then you have to make use of strings. So let's say the string value is 123 that you have defined on the box. So over on the manager, you will select the version V2C and you will say this is my string that you have defined on all the devices, and that there is how the polling and the discovery, initial discovery will happen. If it was a V3, then the concepts are different. The three different types in the case of V3. I'll show you that as well. Okay. So let's say this is how the manager and the agent has to be polled, and that's why I just represented in this way. In my case, I'll make use of a free software called as Observium. It's a free to use and it's a Linux based. I'll show you how did I install this on Linux based, so that I can uh, uh, demonstrate the whole thing. Okay. All right. So where is my lab? You can do it anywhere. I also have my GNS with me. I can do it directly here. So if I do it here, I just need a Ubuntu server somewhere on this, using which I can bring the Cisco device and the manager on the same network. And once they are in the same network, it is easy for me to start polling, discovering, and all those things. Okay. Or otherwise, what I did is I just did it over on the EVNG. Okay. Just to show you that these are irrespective of the emulators, doesn't matter where you do. It's just few commands on the Cisco box and 80% of configuration on the manager. That is why this is not worth enough to show in the class. Okay, just that I'm just that to understand or make it more simplified, I'm showing you. Otherwise, from syllabus point of view, the configuration will remain only from the Cisco box. Okay, if you do the configuration only on Cisco box without keeping manager, there is no way you can test the things. Okay, I have seen some lab where they try to keep some Wireshark and show the demonstration. That is possible. If I take a Wireshark capture here, I can see the packets and I can see the other things. But you will not be able to see how the polling and how the discovering of the device happens. Okay. Okay, so this is my devices and where is my manager? So for manager, what I'm doing is I'm having a Ubuntu operating system with me. And on this operating system, I have a free monitoring tool which is called as Observium. Now how did I install that? So I just went to the browser. Okay, I go to their home page, Observium installation, and I just follow their steps. Okay, so let's say if I go to Ubuntu Observium installation process, so they have given me some commands. Okay, so this four commands I have to run on my terminal. So let's paste this. So you see, it will do its job. Now the installation is happening in the backend. So it says that there is already configuration that's found. So you want to overwrite. So I say that no, I don't want to harm my lab now. Okay. In your case, you will go with this one time of process. So you can just copy paste the 3-4 lines. It will install on your Ubuntu machine. Now, how do you access it? Accessing is again a tricky concept because they have not given any sorts of indication how do you install or how do you access them. And if you just try to go to the applications and if you search for them, you will not see the application icons. There is no icons that get created for this manager. Okay, that's why I said it's little tricky. So how do we use them? It's a web based now. Okay, and what is the IP now? So do we see any sorts of hint given by these guys? No, again that's a tricky part. So let me tell you, IP is nothing but IP is your own local Linux machine. Okay, so first you have to go to your box once again, the terminal once again, and then search for your IP address. So it's a 32.168 IP. So you do a HTTP 192.168.32.168 and then you just hit enter. Okay, so in my case it opened without asking username and password. The reason is it was already been opened on my other terminal, right? But where did I get this username and password? It's when I was installing the package. So when I was installing the package, when it goes to at least 98%, when its progress has been 98%, it will prompt you for username and password. So there is where you have to define your own username. I said admin and I said Cisco, and then it went to 100% completion rate. Okay, and once I have the 100% completion rate, I'll go to HTTP of my browser. I'll make use of the IP address which is which I get it from ifconfig command. I input this username password and now I am within this manager's dashboard. So over here you see the dashboard. Okay, so this is how the dashboard look like, and you will see few devices are added. That's been added by myself. Otherwise it is basically a kind of a dummy web portal which should have shown you 0 counts. So right now they are showing me some devices because I added them up. Now to add something, we will go to device, we'll click on add, and here are the configuration part from the manager. Okay, host name is nothing but your IP address, you can see here. So I will give my IP address. I'll define which version I need. So I told you v1 we will not use. I'll show you v2c and might be I'll show you v3. So first I'll show v2c. When I go with v2c, you see the things are by default highlighting. So that means you don't need to do any changes there because it's already considering the best uh, numbers with them. Okay, timeout of 1, retries of 1, port of UDP 161. You don't have to change them. That's a default behavior. So don't change it. Okay, what is the interesting thing? You will see something for community string. Okay, I told you v2c make use of community string. So that's why we have a community string. Now what do we enter here? Now it depends on what you configured on your router. So on your Cisco router, you would have configured something SNMP server community, and let's say you have typed the community string to be Cisco at the rate 123. Now this string you need to type here Cisco at the rate 123, and then you will click on add device. You can just close this. Okay, this is just a optional feature. So when you click on add device, you will see the device, the manager has sent a polling message. Okay, and now it's going to add it. Now addition will happen. you will see the addition is happening. Okay, but still the devices are not been properly polled. The reason is SNMP will take some time, some delay to send the get message, get next message, to receive the get response. It will take some time. That's why you will see a delay of 2 to 5 minutes for your SNMP manager to completely synchronize with your agent, and it fetch all the required bandwidth or graph, whatever is being asked to do. Okay, so that is the whole process here, the working process of manager versus device. So for manager, we know these are some graphical thing, and network engineer will not be doing more of work over here. The reason is there will be a separate dedicated team in most of the company called as tools team, who take care of the tools, and the network engineer will directly deal with the networking boxes. Okay, but anyway, if you are one in the company and who is taking care of both, so you need to know the different options available here. Let me also show you v3c. Sorry, there is no c in v3, it's just v3. Okay, so when I go with v3, you see the different options that's been enabled. So if I do v2c, it's just a string. When I do v3, it's new column now. No authentication, no privacy. Authentication, no privacy. Authentication with privacy. Three different levels of securities. Okay. First one is simple as your v1, v2c. C is community string, but we don't call community string in v3 scenario. We call it as a username, plain text username. Now here it's just username but with security. There is no password. And over here it's when you are having username, password with both security, okay, encryption and authentication. So this is from the dashboard. What about from the CLI point of view? So let's say this is one of the device which I want to add. So I want to add R4. Okay, 1 second, guys. Okay. Okay, so let's say R4 is what I want to poll and add inside my SNMP manager. Okay, so let's see what is the IP address here. So the IP address is 176. Okay, so over here I have 176. So that's good that I have the IP address. And what else do I need? Let's configure v2c first. Okay, so I'm gonna configure SNMP v2c. There are no lengthy commands, it's just 2 to 3 lines and the work would be done. So I'll say SNMP server. What is my community string? Let's say it's a Cisco at the rate 123. I'll say SNMP server. Who is my manager now? So my manager, how do I get the IP address? So let's check here. So the IP is 32.168. So 192.168.32.168. Okay. And then if you do question mark, is asking you for different versions. Okay, which version do you want to enable? So I'm gonna say I'm gonna enable 2c. Fine. And then what is the community string that's to be added up here? So I can say it's a Cisco at the rate 123. You can have different string with different SNMP monitoring tool. So in my case, I'm using this community string with this SNMP manager. Okay. And finally, the important one, where do you enable the traps? So if you just enable the traps, you can see there are different features for whom you can enable the traps. Okay, you can enable traps for only HSRP as well. Okay, or let's say you want to enable the traps for VRRP, you want to enable the traps for RSVP, you want to enable the traps for something for PW. So there are multiple features, but what I'll do is I'll keep it enabled for all of them. Okay, so ignore this command, this warning, it's nothing to do here. Let's focus on this. It says configuration changes effective. That means all the traps are enabled now. All the features are now being accountable for polling. If something goes on any of the feature, the manager will get a notification. Okay, so just a 3-4 lines, that's all. So what is this now? It's a v2c version, right? Fine, let's go to the manager now. I need this IP 176. So I'll go to manager. I'll say it is 176. It's v2c and my community string is Cisco. Let's give it as only Cisco. And if I try to add device, so it says that it is trying to add, it's trying to figure it out, but there is no response, could not reach the device on this mentioned v2c string. That's because I'm doing with the wrong syntax, right? So now I'll try with the right one, the right string. And if I try to add them, now it's successful. Now it says that device added up. Now let's click on that. Okay, so if I click on that device, as I told you, it will take some time to settle it down. Right now they just discovered and they just added in the manager's database, but the polling has not happened. Now this is where the get messages will start initializing from the manager point of view, and it will take all the required graphs. So when I click on graph, I must be able to see all the different graphs. Okay, now it says that device polar is in progress, device discovery is in progress. So it will take some time, we'll come back to that. So before that, let me see if I can bring Wireshark. I think there's some problem with this Wireshark version. But anyway, let's see once again. See, there's no packet. I think I have to uninstall and reinstall the Wireshark. Okay. Anyway, I'll show it over here on the HTML view. Okay, so do we have anything for SNMP? So let me just try to see the device, is it polled or not. So what was my device now? Do you guys remember the IP? It was 176, right? So 176 is a Cisco box. The version, all those things, the SNMP manager is successfully able to poll and fetch the details. Okay, so this is the uptime that's been taken up from the Cisco box itself. Okay, this is not the uptime of the device that's onboarded to the manager, it's the uptime of the box itself. So 2 hours back the routers were being loaded up, so that's the 2 hours it's showing. And if I click over here, so I can see all the things like show version output. So this is all categorized. There is no interface stats right now because it would be a device with no traffic right now, so there is no graph there. Okay, you can see the processor graph, and if you just click on the graph dedicated graph tab, you will see for device availability, device uptime. Okay, if you go with net stats, you can see the IPv4 packets, fragmentations, packet IPv6 packets, fragmentation, ICMP statistic, informational, IP fragmentation, and different sorts of tables here. Authentication, active AAA session, disconnected AAA sessions. Over here you have a ping response, SNMP, polar duration, lot many things. Okay, and if you go to the health will talk about the device memory. Okay, all your device memory, what is the utilization going on, what is the processor. See, you can see right now just a 6% is utilized over on that router. Very small thing is utilized, you still have 94% free on the Cisco box. If you see from the port or the interface stats of that device, you can see all the ports here. So this is Ethernet 0/0, which is admin up, and protocol is up, whereas the other interfaces should be down. So let's cross check. Yeah, so this is all down, that is why they are not polling anything. Okay, and the one which is up is shown up as a 0/0, and it's also going to show us the CDP neighbor. So it says that 0/0 on so and so is connected to so and so device. Okay, now why it is helpful is, let's say if you're doing a troubleshooting and you see this of your Cisco box, it's using 90%. You will be curious to see where is this interfacing leading to, who is on the other side now, who is that other guy who is making this utilization completely choked up. So this will help you without going to any other further clicks. You can straight away click here and you can see, and you get to know, okay, so this is a device which is connected over on 0/0, and there is how the utilization is going up. Let's say if I click on that 0/0, if I click on that, then you can see the traffic, unicast, non-unicast, average packet size, percent utilization, errors. I talked about errors, discards, right? So all the things gets pulled up. Okay, and as I told you, we have some timers, so we can tune them. Okay, so we have refresh timer. We can personalize this dashboard. We can see some MIPS. Let's see what are the MIPS here. So you see the MIPS are a huge list of MIPS that this software has, and by default they are enabled. So let's see for some Cisco boxes. Let's see Cisco's CDP MIP. Okay, I told you there are a couple of features. Each feature will have some object identifier, and the whole hierarchical tree is called as MIB. Okay, management information. So let's say for Cisco's CDP MIB, I want to check, which says it's enabled. Let's click that, and when you click that, inside that you have multiple trackers. Okay, overly, I mean, if you just enable CDP from the overall point, all the individual OIDs get enabled. Okay, but it's all up to you if you want to enable each one of them, or you just want to have it on it overall. Okay, so let's just quickly see what is this. So for MIB, this is the OID which ends with 23. Now if you want CDP MIB objects .1, if you want CDP interface .1.1, if you want interface table, you will see 1.1. Okay, and if you see here interface index 1.1.1, if you see the interface enable, then you have keep on adding up. Okay, so you get .1 added up, .2 added up, .3, .4, .5 and .6, right? That's how the OIDs are used for tracking purpose, and all together we call them as MIB, management information base. And this is only from CDP point. Okay, if I just show you all the features, might be we need 4 more hours to see everything in this detailed. Let me click one of them. Let's say system name. Okay, they are not clickable, but there is a small I symbol which says that it's a value of the remote device's name. So basically, if you are making CDP neighbor, the CDP neighbor has multiple components within a CDP packet, right? The neighbor's sysname, the neighbor's device IP, the outgoing interface, the uptime, the version. So this is where the OIDs are used, and each one represents something. Okay, so this is bunch of OIDs which is given predefined on the software. Okay, now there are one more interesting thing. Now what we have seen is we have seen the automatic concept. The MIB was already predefined inside the manager, whichever manager you deployed, and you just polled on the Cisco box. What if you don't have a manager? There could be some reason where the manager is not available with you. Let's come back to this scenario itself. Let's say this is your day one operation, and on day one, all you know is that you have configured the SNMP configuration on each one of them. And when you bring this manager up, you see some are deployed and some are not deployed. Now what is the troubleshooting step that you take here? The troubleshooting step here would be you would manually try to poll. Okay, You would manually try to poll using a SNMP get syntax, or you can make use of SNMP's walk symbol or walk syntax, and then you will make sure if that is polling successfully or not. Okay, if it is polling successfully and still manager is not able to poll, then there could be issue at the manager side, might be license issue, might be you have some firewall in between which is blocking UDP 161.162 and the connection is not being established. So that's a different story. But what if polling was not happening with the help of the manual method? You're doing a manual method and polling is not happening, then straight away you'll narrow down the issue to the community string. Might be community string configured is wrong, so you'll go and fix that, right? So that is all the troubleshooting step. It's not required you have thousands of device, you did some configuration and manager gives you 100% successful ratio. There could be configuration issues, right? You're doing some copy paste and if something has been lost, might be that's the reason manager is not polling them. Now you cannot keep on going to the dashboard, clicking on one by one device and making sure whether it's happening or not, because it will take a lot of time. So we can make use of the CLI method. Okay, so let's say this is my box. This is a box with the SNMP. Let's see, show SNMP, and it says that it has already 498 packets it's processed. Output packet 498 processed. Okay, there are a few things we can check it here. Show SNMP MIB. So if you see the MIB list, you will get all the MIB list here. See, it's a huge list. These are all MIB list. Okay, now let's see. I happen to see that this device is not polling from my dashboard. So I'll do a quick manual check, right? How do I do that? I'll go to my terminal where my manager is located. Let me try to zoom in this prompt. You guys can see it. Okay, I hope now it's visible. So when I am over here, I can do a manual check with the help of SNMP get. Okay, so let me show you that. So I'm gonna say SNMP get. What am I trying to make use of? Which version? So I'm gonna make use of v2c. So this is a flag which I'm using in my command. What is the string or a community string I'm gonna use? Purposefully, let me do a wrong string now. So when I say wrong, that's nothing but it's a string, but purposefully I'm giving it a wrong try. Okay, and then I will enter my IP address of the device. So I'm trying 192.168.32.172. Is it so? 176. Okay, and then the main important thing is the object identifier or the MIPS, and we usually do not know what are the MIPS here, right? But once again, it's all that would be documented on the Cisco website. If you go towards the Cisco's feature navigator or some portal, okay, where you can look for the MIPS. So every version will have its own MIP. I'm just randomly showing few examples. And now you will see all the MIPS here. So this is how you will capture the MIPS in your case. And I have already shown you a generic MIP scenario. So using this MIP, I will try to do a manual check over here. Okay, so let me, where is it? Oh, it's over here. And where is that official website? Do we have anything? Okay, it says no official. Might be this doesn't have anything. Let's check something else. Cat 5000. Let me go with the latest version. It's pretty slow as well. Might be it is gonna look for different version. So give a try later on. Might be I'll show you later. Okay. So it's pretty slow. Okay. So many versions, so many models, so many MIPS. So usually it will be slow only. All right. So let it give a try. So this is a official Cisco website. So here is where we capture the MIP for our platform. But on a lab, let me try to write a MIP for me. So my MIB for my SNMP get command. Okay, so I say SNMP get v2c command. The community string is Cisco at the rate 123, and okay, let me go with Cisco, and then I'll have a device of 192.168.32.176, and I'm making sure my string has been configured successfully, and from the dashboard I see it was not getting pulled up, so I'm gonna do a manual check now, and I need a MIB now for a tracking or for a polling. So I say one for ISO 1.3.6.1.4.1.9. So here we have arrived to the Cisco platform, and then I must remember few generic ones. Let's say for to see the host name or to see the domain name, there are some generic ones. So I'll go with 9.2.1.3.0. I know that this will show me the host name. Okay, this is a generic command to see the host name, and to see the domain name I'll follow till this part till 9, which is Cisco, and then I'll go with 2.1.4.0. So for domain name I'll go with 2.1.4.0. Okay, so this is gonna be my manual check for troubleshooting purpose. So let me go back to the terminal, and over here let me say it's 1.3.6.1.4.1.9.2.1.3.0. Okay, so is that the one? So 1.3.6.1.4.1.9.2.1. Okay, so 3.0 for host name and 4.0 is for domain name. Okay, and if I do enter, this will be a wrong thing. Okay, 1 second. So SNMP get v2c. Okay, this is a lowercase c. Okay, you might have seen while writing v2c or v2c, we write c as a lowercase. We don't write it in this way. So that's why the string has to be in a lowercase. Okay, so what is the error? Let's see the error. Missing object name version 5.8 web. Okay, let me try with the actual working string, which is Cisco at the rate 123. Okay, the thing is I'm using a at the rate. I think this is a not valid thing. Okay, this is a string. Between a string and the device IP there should be a space. Might be that's the reason. Okay, so purposefully let me give a wrong string first. Okay, now this is a good one. So there should be a space in between. Okay, and we get no response. The reason is we have given a wrong string. The right string is Cisco 123 with the lower case. And there we go. So when we have a right MIB matched up, we get the host name to be router. Okay, router. What if I do a change so that we are double sure that yes, that's the one. So let's say SNMP custom name, and if I re-trigger this command, so we see that the host name is this. Now this is a generic thing for Cisco box. Okay, so you know what is how we got this number or these OIDs or MIB. Okay, and this is the syntax to do the manual check. So when I see that this is good, this it's polling, then I can go and try to do it from the dashboard. Okay, this is how you do the manual check. And yes, you can write a automation script and you can just see if thousands of devices already are polling with your uh, latest string or no. And depending upon that, you can write the change plan and you can get it going. Why we don't try to straight away go to the dashboard and poll? The reason is already those dashboard will have thousands of devices and they will be not so uh, free enough, or they will be not so smooth enough for you to do any sorts of uh, trial and error sorts of thing. Now the devices are only 2 and 3, that's why it is super fast. Most of the time these uh, dashboards, especially the SNMP or these AAA servers, they are very slow. The reason is they will be having so many devices in itself, and I can say that exceeded ones. The license says thousands, but your enterprise would have put 5,000 devices, and it's super slow. And you try to poll, and you see 50% is down or not matching. You're basically choking the server. So we will prefer going with the CLI thing. It's much faster. I can write automation script. I can see, I can trigger this. We know that only IP address is something which is a variable. This is a standard for all the host name check, and I can get it going. Let's say I wanted to see the domain name, and for domain name it was 4.0. I can see it's a local domain because there is nothing that's configured. So you can see here IP domain, local domain. That's why. So how if I change it? So you see it gets changed up. So this is a manual polling, and on dashboard I have shown you the manager polling while discovering the devices and how the manager helps you. Let me go to the Wireshark quickly. Let's see what is it. Okay, so Wireshark is corrupt for me. Okay, I am not able to see any packets. Maybe I have to uninstall and install. Okay, so over on the Wireshark, I wanted to show you the packets, different packets. Maybe you can do this lab and try to figure it out yourself. You will see the different packets, get next, and the get response to this, the different packets. Okay, and the MIPS you can see that's let's say this is your SNMP, and the SNMP and the device, they are all communicating over MIPS. So you can see the MIPS inside your packet. Something you can do it as your assignment. Okay, I have not given you assignment for a long time, so you can try to do that. Okay, now quickly let me show you one of V3 configuration. Regarding traps, how many traps are enabled by default? These are all the traps that's got enabled now. With one single command, SNMP traps enable, you can see these are all enabled. Okay, There are few commands here apart from the normal things. There's something called as show SNMP engine ID. There will be a random number that's get created up. Okay, not widely seen in the case of version 2C, but in the case of version v3 we can see this gets generated up. Show SNMP user, once again not much from v2c. Show SNMP group. So what do we have here? Not much from v2c again. Okay, we have one group for this which is v2c, and that's all. Show SNMP location. Nothing is set, but you can set it. Most of the time SNMP location would be set. There is where we get the location of the devices, right? So you might have seen when we are trying to find a field engineer's information, right? We get a ticket, we see that a device located at so and so location or rack uh, is not working, and you want to create a tag case or might be a replacement case. So where do you get the location or the contact number? So basically they set this over on SNMP command. They say that SNMP server location, and you can set this up, rack 151 u for upper, uh, first floor, contact number plus 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, so and so. Now this gets automatically captured by your SNMP manager, and it's a useful feature. If something you wanna replace or you wanna raise a tag, you have the location embedded on the device. Okay, that's something which is a cool feature of SNMP. And yes, you can also give other commands which have not shown here, like SNMP contact abc@abc.com. Okay, sorry, SNMP server contact. You can also set some read only and read write SNMP. Okay, you don't need, I told you, string is one thing which is for polling. What about for while doing a configuration? Now configuration can have two privilege concerns. One is if you want only read only, and the other one is only read write, right? So you can also do that sorts of configuration. So you can say SNMP server community, let's say Cisco 345 is your read only access. Okay, or you want read write access. So now you can set a read write access. So these are all depending upon your configuration. If you are just trying from your manager point of view, you need a string, that's all. In case of v2c, you're good with it. All right, now quickly let me show you a v3c. Let me take some other device from here. Let's say R3. So let's see what does it have. It's 175. Okay. Let's prepare the change plan. So what are the change plan here? So I need a group and a user, and then we will define whether it has to be uh, whether no auth no priv, or it is auth with no priv, or it's with auth with priv. Okay, so for no auth no priv, the configuration would be something like this: SNMP server a group to be defined first. Group 1, which version does it follow? Let's say it's version 3, and what mode do we have? Now these are the three version 3 types, and similar way there are three uh, different clients that's available. Okay, so one is no auth, the second one is auth, and the last one is prive. We call this as three different clients for SNMP's v3 version. And using this, we will take the first one and we will place it here. SNMP group, group name, version 3, and which one do you need? Do you need no auth? No auth is nothing but it resembles this. The second one resembles this, and this is being resembled by this. We directly cannot take this and apply here. Okay, we need to make use of the client and then use it. So we call it as client here. What else we need? We need SNMP user, SNMP server, user, and the username. Which group does this belong to? It belongs to group 1 and it's a version 3 format. We will enable the traps. Okay, and we will define the SNMP manager. So let's say SNMP server. What is my mapping, or where is my manager? My manager is 32 dot so let's check. So it's 32.168.168. And what is the username who is to be set with this? I told you, in the case of no auth, no priv, it's very equivalent to your SNMP v2c or SNMP v1. Okay, there is no encryption, no authentication. It's just your string, but we don't call it as string anymore. We call it as username. That's why you see this is all plain text. There is no security here. But if it's the same thing, you take it for the second one where authentication is enabled but no privacy. I'll write the commands. Now the client to be used is the second one. Okay, group 1 v3 auth, user 1 v3. Now we are gonna secure this, so I'm gonna say auth md5 method auth pass. Okay, yes, true and true, that is fine. Now if the same thing, I'll go for the third method where I secure and I do have the privacy. So let's set. So now what is the third client? Priv. So priv comes here. So SNMP user 1 group 1 v3 auth md5. Okay, the author password could be anything. Now the privacy we are gonna make use of protocol AES 128, and then the password. So I can say that it's a password 123, and then enable command, and then the user that's been associated with this. So these are the three different commands for three different types. The first one as good as v2c and v3, but no more called as community string. It is username, but username with no protection or no security. Over here the username is secured, there is no password. Over on the third one we are protecting both username and password, and we are making use of different protocols for that. Okay, encryption and authentication. So if I take the first one, if I copy paste here, I will first quickly check from my CLI method. For CLI method, the command is little different. Okay, so I will first try with the v3c itself. Let's see. So v3, what is the username I'm using? I'm using user1. What is the method, or what is the client I'm using now? I'm making use of client no auth, right? So no auth. I don't have any security or any encryption here. And what is the device IP? 192.168.32.176. Okay, so some flag is missing. Okay, so if I get that flag, then I can get this done. Let me try. So I have v3 u for user hyphen l for the client. Okay, it says something is missing, right? So should be some flag from here to compensate that. Okay, so we are using version v3. This is for username. This is for level. So for level I have set no auth. All right, I will use this. Okay, I am using something else, but we have some hints given over there. It says that to make use of no auth no priv, right? That's the one, right? Yes, so let's take copy, keep it here. Okay, something is missing yet. Hmm. We don't have protocol, no need. Passphrase authentication protocol, we don't have any. Okay, so what is my passphrase? Okay, there is no passphrase, there is just a username which I need here. Passphrase comes in your third type. Okay, third and second type. Passphrase, this is for third type. The second is just a username, second and first username. Protocol not required now, not required now. See, you can see here it's a SNMP version 3 specific. Okay, I think some flag is missing, or let me try with SNMP walk. Okay, it says that unknown username SNMP walk. Or let me try with the flags but keeping it blank. So let's say I don't have any authentication, but I said phi. What about hyphen a, hyphen x, and hyphen x? Okay, anyway, we'll come to the CLI command. Okay, so we'll come to CLI command, but same time let's see the behavior of your dashboard now, whether it's able to find this out. So what is the IP here? It's 175, right? So 172, 168, 32.175. Okay, shall we keep v2c first? Okay, it says it's not able to ping because it's a v3. If I go with v3, I say that it's no auth no privacy first, and if I say add device, Okay, let me just check my configs once. Do show run SNMP. So user 1 group 1 v3 no auth. Okay, traps enabled. 32.168. So is that right? 32.168. And what is the username? Username is user1. How do I check this? I can make use of SNMP user now. Okay, so when I type SNMP user, I can see the username. It's active. Show SNMP. There are no packets, only one packet on the outside direction, zero packets here. Show SNMP group. We have only one group here. So this is a v3 method, no auth. Okay, IP was wrong here. Okay, so it's not 172, it's 192. And then add. Okay, it says no reply on credential, could not reach 5. So let's give a manual ping test. So that's fine. Okay, let me try to convert this to the other type. Okay, let's see if this is wrong. So let's see if this or this comes up or not. Okay, so let me try with this. Might be my first method or CLI commands are not good, so at least let me try with this. Okay, so having group 1 with the privacy set, that is the third type. So user 1 group 1 v3 authentication set to MD5. Okay, let's go one after one. So let me write the first line. So let's say it's SNMP server group. So I have to write some group name. Let's say group 1. It's a v3. It's a privacy mode. The security level is priv. SNMP server. Who is my user? So let's say my user is user 1. Which group does it belong to? It belongs to group 1. To which version does it belong? v3. I want authentication on username with the help of MD5. And what is the authentication password that I need to set now? So let's say it's pass123. And I also want to encrypt my username. Okay, so I will say priv, and which method? I need AES. AES will have few flavors. I'll go with the 128. And then it's asking me privacy password for this user, and I said password 123, and over here I will say Cisco 123, and then I enable the traps. I will map my manager 192.168.32, 128. So where is my CLI? 168. And then who is my user? So it's asking me if it is v1 and v2c, then I go with community string, and if it is v3, then I define my user. So my user was user1. Okay, now it's a third type, so I'll go to auth priv. Over here my user is user1, and the password I said is pass123, and crypto pass I am gonna say it as Cisco123. Okay, which method I'm using? I'm using MD5 for authentication password, and for crypto privacy or crypto, so I'm using AES. Okay, let's try to add this. Okay, so looks like there is some issue. So do show IP int brief 32.160.175. Okay, this is 32.168. Okay, let me try with different combination here. Okay, so if you see here, oh, all right. So I'm making, okay. What is this? Low uppercase, right? Okay, uppercase 123, uppercase 123. It's MD5, and then Cisco 123, which is AES, and it's a user one. So yes, it should have worked. So user one, this is pass 123, and this is Cisco 123. I'm having MD5 and I'm having AES. Add device. Oh, sorry, 192. Okay, now what is not good here? Hope it's not the limitation of the free version that I can add only 4 device. Let me once check. Server user 1, group 1, v3, auth, MD5, pass 123, privacy, AES 128, and a key. And then we have also mapped it with user 1, right? So 192.168, 32.168 user 1. Do show run SNMP. Hope the previous lines are not conflicting. See, we could have used a different groups here. Okay, let me do one last try over on a different device. Okay, so let me take 170. Show IP int brief. It's 173. Okay, R8. So R8 is 173. So this is gonna be 173. Okay, and I'll try to do this method. Okay, so group 1 v3 prive user 1 group 1 v3 authentication MD5. What shall we set? So shall we set it as user name 123, and then priv of AES 128, and then password 123, enable traps. We have the manager at this location 32.168, and we are mapping the user here. Okay, so copy conf t, enter. Okay, we can cross check with show SNMP user. It is up and live. Show SNMP group active. Let's go to the dashboard manager. Okay, let me start it from fresh. So it's 192, 168, 32, and 173. It's a v3. It's a type 3. Username I said is username 123. Okay, sorry, username is user 1. And over here I said user name 123. It's a MD5. Password is AES. Okay, now this got added up. So I guess the previous device had some issue. So what was it? So this device had some issue. Now we can see the device is successfully added up. Okay, and shall we try the CLI command? So I was trying with SNMP get, right, and we had few more things that was added up. So user is user 1. The level we now went was with this one. Okay, I'll just copy paste so that we don't make a typo. And we will mention the protocol for passphrase. It was MD5 protocol. And what is the passphrase? I said it's username 123, and then we defined the privacy level AES type, and over here we had the passphrase to be password 123, and then the device 192.168.32 dot, what is the device that we are trying to do? 173. Okay, let me try with SNMP walk. Okay, so there should be a space here. Okay, now it's right. Okay, so we can poll the device, and we are not polling using any OIDs. Basically we are just trying to see if this is the device is polling on the version 3 or not, and I'm running a generic syntax, and that syntax will by default consider all the enabled OIDs to poll. So this is how your manager is polling. As soon as it starts polling up here, you see here it says that it's added up. Now what is the next step that this dashboard is gonna do? It's gonna do a polling now. So this is how the polling gets triggered. And in the back end of the dashboard, you will see all your graphs start getting filled up or get filling up. Okay, so these all graphs initially are the dummy things, or by default zero, nothing been fetched. But then this is what is happening in the backend. It's gonna collect all the numbers, and wherever it finds out, it's gonna update accordingly. Okay, so this is something about the SNMP concept. So here is where your processor, the memory, the storage, these are all your different options under ports, the neighbors, the CDP neighbors. Okay, these are the devices which are under shutdown mode, admin shutdown mode. Basically you don't need the manager, just to understand, trying to show you these things, because you might be using a different manager, so this observium will be of no use for you. So all the device here, you can see my local Ubuntu itself by default get listed here. So if you see here, this is my the base operating system where observium is running, and it itself has collected this. So it says what is the version I'm running, what are the different so you can see how much consumption is going on. Okay, so yes, let me know if you have any doubts here. I hope the class was informative, and I'm trying to go with IPv6 also, which will not take much time. It is a short topic, so that's something which I'll complete for the day, so that we have less number of topics when we meet up in the next class. Yeah, I wanted to show one more thing over here. I told you about the index. I told you about the interfaces, right? Interfaces, threshold, interface, discard, error, interface, counters, right? So how does this? How does we see these things? How do the SNMP will monitor on the interface level as well? So there is a command which using which we can see what index number SNMP has allocated uh, onto the interfaces. So let's say show SNMP MIB. So these are all the MIBs of the features. Finding out something here is very difficult. These are all feature list. Okay, so I'll just do a control set. If I want to see the interfaces, show SNMP MIB if MIB. If MIB is nothing but interface MIB, and if index to show the if index of interface. So I have like four interfaces, and each interfaces has a index of allocated index, reserved index. Okay, so 2, 5, 4, 5, 1, 6. So these are reserved one. So these are how interfaces will be triggered up. Now if something has to be checked within interface, so there are a lot of things within an interfaces, right? If I go with 0/0, so let's say this is being polled by one object ID, so it will be 2.0. Let's say you are also polling something this, so something this, so it will have 2.4. Let's say you are trying to poll this one, it will have 2.3. So that's how within an interface you will narrow down on individual components. Okay, and discards all those things what I told you. It's about this. So these are some errors, these are some errors or packet drops. There are packet drops over here which can be having a different OID values, some packet drops here, some collision deferred, some loss over here. So these, all these things will have a individual OID. So it can be 2.10, 2.20, so they get automatically reserved. Okay, so it's just from your knowledge point of view how they get reserved and what is to be done. So guys, any doubt here?
Hello, Mr.
Hello, yes, tell me.
One of the tricky things, especially using SNMP, is you discover a device, but you're not pulling data or information because your MIB is the wrong one, or there was a change in the MIB according to the version you have of the OS or the hardware itself. What is the best way to find the right MIB if the MIB you have for that device is not working or it has been upgraded? How you can find a good one and then update it or load one specific MIB for a specific device?
Yeah, so that is tricky thing. You have to follow only the vendor specific portal. Yeah, so this is unfortunately not giving the entire MIB list. I was expecting it on based on hardware version and the feature, it would give me different MIB. I believe this website might have been migrated to somewhere else. So that would be more specific to vendor only. So if we like select a vendor or hardware, we select the software version, and we select which feature I need the MIB. I must get all the list there, and that is only one way I can capture it in a proper way. Rest, it would be little difficult, like I how I did for one example, going to the Google, trying to write this. Don't have to be very accurate, because till .9 is a generic thing, but later on things, as you said, depending upon upgradation, depending upon changes, it can also be changed. So it's only the official website which can give us the accurate one.
Yeah, because in the past I have plenty issues with ASA box and it's not picking up stuff and it took me a long time really to find the right name. So that's why I wanted to ask you, maybe you have a quick way of doing it.
Okay. Okay, and regarding the
Then,
configuration using SNMP, I have not done it ever, but I think you do the configuration from the dashboard. Okay, so if you once poll your device successfully from the dashboard, and if the dashboard has any uh, platform or any option to write the set of syntax and then you can send it to the box, might be that is how the set message will be taken from the manager to client, but I have not tried it, so I don't want to give the wrong information. Okay.
But most of the vendors try to have a module just for configuration as an add-on with SNMP manager. That is what they tend to do most nowadays anyway.
Okay.
In the case of like solar wind, because I've been running for a long, long time, you have the configuration manager that will be added onto the dashboard as a module, and through that configuration manager, you can push your configuration. It could be using automation or script or single line of configuration without any problem.
Okay, so is it something like this? I just found out something here which says SNMP configuration, and like you can set some single line of config and you can apply it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is the way. So it will be not a full time experience like how we do CLI command, but it would be a graphical kind of thing. So if you see on the left hand side of this portal, there are feature lists which is mentioned, and you have to define them, like port name, system name, SNMP, DHCP, boot, VLAN, and then you will click on apply. So it's a like a dashboard thing. Okay, so I think because due to I think due with this type of configuration, might be they do the configuration.
You can push it also via the command line. If you use Solar and Wind
Uh-huh.
with your configuration manager, it's like you're doing it on a CISO console without you tap the command exactly the same way
Okay.
and you push it.
So do we have to add the set in front of the commands?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It presents the console at the background. You use it. It's like a normal console. You tap your command and you push it, and then it's done. And
Okay.
you
Might
can
be
check if you
those.
can.
Yeah, might be those entered command will be taken via set command of the manager.
No, possible.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Okay. Hmm. So any further doubt, guys, or you need a break of 10 minutes before we start with IPv6, or we are good and we can start with IPv6?
Yeah, carry on.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Great. IPv6 will take 20 25 minutes. Okay, or might be 15 20 minutes.